Hi Capricorn and Capricorn Rising, here is your horoscope for September 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, we are in eclipse season once again. Now this happens about every 6 months or so, where we have a set of eclipses that open up doorways and they close doorways. That's what eclipses symbolically represent. So we have a new moon that's going to activate this ninth house of higher learning, expectation, travel, adventure, and sort of higher purpose. And then we're going to have a lunar eclipse in your third house of ideas and communication. And I'll cover those in a little bit. But just to give you the highlights of this astrology this month. Also, Saturn, your ruler, is on the move, going backwards into the third house. And I will cover that in a minute as well. So if you're a Capricorn rising, or if you have a sun sign in Capricorn, this is a very, very basic general overview of what the astrology is suggesting. And I use Western tropical astrology here, using the whole house systems. So again, everyone's birthday and birth chart is different. This is why when you look at a sun chart, you know, it'll still have accuracy. I would say 70 to 75%. It'll still give you an idea of the areas that are being affected, but your own birth chart is where these activities will happen with more accuracy. So keep that in mind when you're listening to this video, okay? Anyway, let's get started. This time of the year, we have the sun going through Virgo in the ninth house. So there's a sense of adventure. There's a sense of more fulfillment. There's a happier feeling usually when the sun is going through the ninth house. We still have some of these other planets in these parts of your chart, like Jupiter is in Cancer and it's moving direct. So a need for socializing, interacting, spending time with family. This is all being highlighted because Cancer is the sign of family, and Jupiter seems to amplify that even more. Now, Venus is also going through Leo, which is the eighth house of deep psychological transformation, and money matters, inheritance, taxes, insurance, anything to do with finances is being amplified right now as I start this video on September the 1st. And it'll stay here for a while, but it will be switching signs as well, along with Mercury. Mercury is now going direct in Leo as well, and it will switch signs, and they'll all wind up in this ninth house. So there's a lot of energy building up in this ninth house, along with the solar eclipse. Now, as we start off the month, your ruler, Saturn, has retrograded or will retrograde back into this third house of communication, ideas, self-expression. And so Saturn in retrograde is going deep within yourself, especially since it's your ruler. It's in Pisces. It's your imagination. It's your spirit. And so it's asking you for one last time before it leaves this part of your chart, and which will be at the beginning of 2026 when it goes back into Aries in the fourth house. But it's asking you to look at everything that you are, and the communication skills and the people in your life, and you know how you fit into the equation, how you express yourself. Are you expressing yourself properly? And what I mean by that is, are you sharing your knowledge and wisdom with others? You know, Capricorn and Capricorn rising folks make great teachers. And so this is giving you one last chance to look at all these areas of your life, okay? Because each one of these houses represents a different area of life. That's all it means. And so Saturn here is encouraging you to make sure this is what you want, where you're going, how it's going to work out, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's planning, it's thinking, it's expressing. And this is what's going to happen over the next couple of months. So let's move forward, and Mercury, which is the sign of communication, will enter Virgo. Now, this one is a very interesting one because Virgo is ruled by Mercury along with Gemini. Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. But when Mercury is in Virgo, it becomes much more skeptical. It becomes much more critical. It starts to analyze every little detail. So if you're a Capricorn rising or a Capricorn sun, and now you have Mercury in Virgo, the tendency to be a little bit more OCD comes out, because this is a sign that represents perfection, and you're the sign of boundaries and restrictions. You know, you're about structure, you're about building structures. Now Virgo does it in a different way, by looking at all the small details. So Mercury over the next couple of weeks going through the ninth house is going to have you looking at all the small details of your future, of what it is that you want. Where do you want to be? traveling, education, your sense of purpose. This is all going to be highlighted with Mercury making its way through the 9th house. Not a big deal. It's just asking you to look at the small details of your adventure. Uranus will go retrograde as well in Gemini on the 6th, right there. And there it is in stationary position. And it will retrograde back eventually into your 5th house and into the sign of Taurus one last time as well. So this will make the 4th outer planet to go retrograde, along with Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, which means this is normal. Most of the year, these outer planets are retrograde because they're so far away from the sun, so they're behind the Earth. And so what this means is going back or diving into the past. It's in Gemini. It's about the 6th house for now. It's about health. It's about service. It's about your daily routine. It's about taking care of others. You know, are you happy doing all of that? Do you need to change your routine? Do you need to change your diet? Do you need to change your physical activity in terms of exercise? You know, this is what Uranus is asking you to do when it goes retrograde. So you're diving within and asking yourself the questions. So you can see here from Saturn retrograde, Mercury in Virgo, and now Uranus in Gemini, it's all a deep dive within to explore. Now, why is this all happening right now? Because of this, the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. If you've been following me for a while, you know that lunar eclipses are cycles that end. They're completion cycles. Some of them may have started 18 and a half years ago. Some of them are shorter. But whatever it is, when you have a lunar eclipse, it brings things to light. It's like, okay, I finished that, and now I need to go on to something else. It's an ending. It's a completion. And it's going to happen in this 3rd house of communication, ideas, and self-expression. It's going to be at 15 degrees, opposing the sun at 15 degrees. So it'll be going this way between the 9th house energy and the 3rd house energy. So what is it that you need to let go of? What idea, concept that's not working for you anymore? How do you express yourself? Are you expressing yourself? Maybe you've got a podcast or something you're doing and you're kind of sick of it. You don't want to do it anymore. You know, that kind of stuff. Or maybe you're writing a book and now it's complete and now you need to promote it. You know, this is the kind of energy that I'm talking about. But communication is absolutely highlighted during this lunar eclipse. And by the way, eclipses can take up to 6 months to manifest, lunar and solar. Both of them are very powerful. They're not like new moons and full moons. They bring more power to them. So don't beat yourself up if it's not happening fast enough, because this could be a slow rollout process that takes place over the course of at least the next 3 to 6 months. So not a big deal. Okay? So keep that in mind. Mercury enters Libra on the 18th, right there. Now your focus is back to your career, your status, partnerships, relationships, business arrangements. All of this stuff now falls under the umbrella of Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra is different than Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Libra wants to be around people. It wants to socialize. It wants partnerships. It wants to interact with other people in business, especially in the 10th house. And so this is going to be very important the next 3 weeks as Mercury makes its way through there. Now, Venus entering Virgo. Now, this is where it starts to get a little tricky again. Okay, it's like these waves of energy keep coming in. Some of them are beneficial, some of them are not. But Venus in Virgo can be beneficial for several things. Having a little bit more fun, a sense of adventure, being around people more. That's fantastic. But it's in Virgo, the cautionary perfection sign. And so now we see, again, you're analyzing every little aspect of your relationships, your direction. The 9th house has higher purpose, meaning this is the house that represents religions. It represents governments. It represents the law. It represents sort of the meaning of life. And all this energy is starting to pile up in this 9th house for many of you. And so it's suggesting that you take a deeper look as Venus makes its way through here for the next 5 weeks or so, 4.5 to 5 weeks, in this 9th house. But what makes this one so special is the solar eclipse will be in Virgo, and it will be at 29 degrees right here. And so not only do you have Venus in Virgo, we have all this Virgo energy in the 9th house. This is absolutely going to change your belief system in the next, let's say, 6 months to a year. And what do I mean by that? Anything to do with this house, a sense of adventure, the higher purpose, the meaning of life. What is God? What is religion? What are my religious beliefs? What are my political beliefs? This all falls under the umbrella of the 9th house. With a new moon solar eclipse here, It is absolutely saying, I'm going to change my mind. I don't see the world in the same way anymore. And that's what this Virgo energy is going to do for many of you. But again, it'll be a slow rollout. It's not going to be one day. It's going to be over the course of the next 3, 6, 9 months, up to a year, where you will look back at this cycle and say, wow, did I change? And that's what this Virgo moon brings in. We have Mars entering Scorpio on the 22nd right there. This will absolutely add more intensity to your life. Mars in Scorpio is much stronger than Mars in Libra. So here we see a need to move forward, a need to work with the community, a need for new friendships. And you're definitely becoming more aggressive at this point. A lot of us will be, because Mars is in a stronger position in Scorpio. And so for the next 5 weeks, you are determined to get what you want, and you absolutely must go after it, and you will. And that's what Mars in Scorpio will do. And last but not least, we also have the Sun entering Libra right there, where it normally does this time of the year. And it is focusing on your career and how you're seen in the public. All kinds of relationships are highlighted because it's Libra, the sign of relationships. And so I see a lot of passion now with reinventing yourself at work and work-related matters, or in your personal and business relationships. All right? There is the general overview. If you want to know more, I do an extended version of this horoscope, going into the aspects and giving you some more information about the month ahead in my Inner Circle community. So consider joining. There's a free 7-day trial. There's a link down below in this video. And of course, there I teach astrology. I also, do the weekly astrology overview. And we do a Zoom call every Sunday with the members, and members get to ask me questions. Some members send me their birth charts or their family's birth charts, and I'm able to answer a few questions for them, but we talk about everything: politics, religion, UFOs. We've gone so far down the rabbit hole that a lot of the members here are really getting up to speed on what's really going on in the world and who they really are. Anyway, consider joining. I hope to see you in the community. Have a great month, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.